All right. So thank you once again for joining me on the Prep and Defend Show. I'm the host, Chris Ruano, and today our guest is John Hernandez from San Diego Fire Brigade. Um, no doubt if you're on Instagram and you follow anything fire, guarantee he's going to pop up in your feed or on your explore page. That whole Mando lifestyle, Mando culture. We see him posting a whole bunch about that. And I'm really been looking forward to having him on because that whole thing is it's crazy sometimes the staffing like we have out here on the West Coast. And you kind of you're funny, you're making light of it and getting everybody a good chuckle. Everybody knows kind of what it's like going through it. So, but yeah, John, I just want you to go ahead and if you wouldn't mind just kind of introducing yourself and we'll get into it, brother.
Yeah, like I said, my name's John. I started this little Instagram page called Fire Brigade. It started out as just kind of making videos of fires, and it turned into my personality started coming out a little bit too much on the page, and I realized that people were kind of liking that, so I just kind of kept it going. Uh, and then the Mando jokes started happening. I mean, that's what's happening out here with everybody. I just kind of went with it.
Yeah, and then the Mando for the people, sometimes some of the listeners, they're just like dads and folks that kind of like the whole fire service culture and stuff. So they give us a listen. What's the whole Mando thing? What's that all about?
Um, well, basically, in the morning, about 7 o'clock, we get a call or we get a text message on our phone saying you can't go home. You'll be stuck at work for 24 hours. And since we're on a Kelly schedule, we would be stuck for 24 hours and an additional 24 hours. And out here where I'm at in the Southern California, we'll actually get stuck for 96 hours and sometimes longer. Just won't be able to go home. We're mandoed to different stations, and it's just it's a big staffing issue right now.
Yeah, and so Mando is short for mandatory, right? You're mandatory work. You don't get to leave. And this is something I think this episode is going to help a lot of people. Just either they're in the fire service or they used to work for the fire service, or they got friends that are kind of in and around it, and it doesn't kind of get talked about a lot. I mean, they kind of know as firemen that we're gone a lot. Maybe we're not showing up to family events and things like that. But this would be good also for people on the entry side to kind of hear the culture of it. It's a real thing and it happens a lot. And I did a podcast a few months back, just kind of on the stuff that people don't talk about with the fire service. Everybody kind of much like Pinterest or Instagram, they talk about the good things, show all the really cool shots with fire in the background, but really what's it like lifestyle wise, you're right. What it's like, what's the toll it takes on you, some things you can expect. So this is good. This is that discussion, of the real stuff, and but it's fun too. Like you guys make fun of it, and you guys have a good time with it. But it's going to be good kind of insight into the culture that we have. So for you, John, how long you've been working? You said you work down there in Southern California. I think everybody they can follow you, figure it out. And but what how long you been there? What was your kind of path to fire? Just kind of
I think I'm
curious.
going on about 9 years. I'm a fire medic. I was Navy before. I never really thought about joining the fire service. When I was on the in the Navy, I was on the Ronald Reagan. It's a carrier, and it's a large ship. And we would basically on a ship when there's a fire, you kind of just have to look in the mirror. You don't really have anybody to call. So we all have a little bit of fire training, and I kind of enjoyed it. I enjoyed what we were doing. I enjoyed donning the BA and going and putting out our fake fires on the ship. They would actually put like fake smoke, and we would crawl through it, and I just liked it. And I was coming up on my 4 years, and I started taking fire classes while we were deployed. I actually just English classes. Then when I came back, I did fire classes, and kind of put me on the path to where I am now. A little bit what you were saying with our culture, our Mando culture. Um, I'm going on about 9 years, and it's been like this the entire time. Always been,
Right.
me and my family and my wife, we just look at the schedule and we go, I'm going to get Mando that day. I'm going to get Mando that day. And it's just been kind of a way of life. And I think right now, with COVID I don't really know why. I'm not an economic expert here, but the entire country is having
Yeah.
staffing issues. And of course, the fire department is
Right.
also. And I think Southern California has kind of been on the front lines of that, but now everybody's feeling it. And I've accidentally become like a spokesperson for mandatory overtime. 'Cause I see
Yeah.
it in the messages, it's the whole country now. It's I mean, you were saying West Coast, but I'm
Yeah.
getting I mean, I'm selling, like, these hats and stuff. They're going everywhere. For some reason, Canada has been buying a lot of stuff too, and I think a lot of that is
Oh, that's
a lot
funny.
of that is they like the humor and it's fun, but I think a lot of it is I think everyone's feeling staffing issues, and, we just the first ones to make fun of it, I guess.
No, that's a good point, and, like you said, you've been on 9 years. I got 21 years on with the department I'm with, and a few years prior to that was just seasonal stuff, and, I can say that it's been I think, like you said, maybe it's not just the fire service, and maybe it's not just the West Coast. I think talking to friends that own businesses and companies and construction and stuff like that, there's just a shortage of manual laborers. I mean, for all intents and purposes, that's kind of we're very highly specialized in the things that we do and the training that we get, but there's a work shortage, of people that are actually willing to go out there, get their hands dirty, put in work. In our job, you got to work towards it. Like you can't just go out there and get it, for the most part. There are people that get lucky in taking a test and they get hired, but for the most part, people are really passionate about it and they pursue. You were taking classes and started knocking stuff out, to get the job. And then you get there, and like you said, family wise, the schedule is always like I tell people, it's on paper, right? Like people, I remember when I was looking to get hired, 20 years ago, and you're like, oh, this is cool. They work like 10 days a month. Well, that's on paper. That wasn't like ever a reality. But I will say that it's gotten worse over the last 10 years. At 10 years, the staffing, it just got more difficult with more, like you guys call it Mandos. On my department, it's recalls. They get recalled to work. And, those became more prevalent. And then I would say in the last 5 years, the morale has like started to tank. Before it was just kind of like, hey, this is what we do, and now it's just really kind of eating people up. And part of that too, and I'll see what you think too on some of the older guys like the OGs, the veterans that are leaving and retiring. I remember those were my mentors and just kind of modeling a lot of my career and my program after those guys. Like the amount that they worked, you almost didn't know about it. Like they were just kind of different. Like they didn't talk about it much. And even like the home stuff, they was just kind of mama just kind of figured it out. They weren't, maybe, I think culturally, nationwide, and just our culture as a country, I think the guys try to help out a little bit more at home. When you get home, you're like, okay, what do I need? Stuff's crazy, and with all the practices and kids' sports and things, I think we come and we try to help with that. And then when we're not there, it puts more stress. I just noticed with some of the older guys, it was just they worked. That's what it was, and they didn't even say nothing about it. They just did it. There was like that company kind of loyalty, where now I think, plus with social media, people put stuff out there and things like that. But I've just kind of noticed that a little bit. I mean, did you see that at all when you were coming in, or did the guys tell you right when you walked in that you'd
I
be
think I
working all the
knew
time?
I was working on the ambulance for a couple of years. I could see what was happening with the fire department. I knew what I was getting into, and I actually I liked it in the beginning. It was fun. I mean, I would just work all the time. My son was real young, and I wasn't really missing out on a whole lot. I was just working and going home and having fun, and I liked it. And I think I talked about this a little bit in the past, but at some point, um, I didn't realize it, but I was overdoing it. I mean, I was basically like strung out on caffeine and just working all night and then working another shift somewhere else and just call after call. I would get to the point where when I got home, I couldn't turn it off. I couldn't really relax. I wasn't really
Yeah.
sleeping. And luckily for me, I actually got injured on the job, and it forced me to, I guess, look in the mirror and see and be home for
Yeah.
6 months and see that my yeah, sorry. Maybe me and my wife's relationship wasn't what it was when we
Yeah.
first got married. I was seeing the things I was
Hmm.
missing out with the kids and seeing how jacked up I can't say the word right now. Mentally, I was up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
it just
Right.
opened my eyes, and that was right around when I started this page. I started to feel better.
Hmm.
I asked for help. I went out and I talked to we have something called Focus out here, where you call in and they hook you up with somebody and you can talk about your problems basically. And after doing that, I realized I was not a good husband and I was not a good father and I was working way too much. I was hooked on the adrenaline of the job and it was wearing me out to where when I got home, I was a shell of a man and realized a lot about myself. And
Yeah.
once I started focusing on the correct things, I became a better firefighter, a better medic, a way better father and husband. And when I created the brigade right around that time because I felt like when I was at home, the only people that like people were texting me and calling me was all firefighters. They were worried about me, and I I felt like we needed something that wasn't department related that we could have some fun with, and that's what the page kind of was in its infancy. And then slowly, it's turned into what it is, and it actually has become what I wanted it to become. It's a place where firefighters, and not just firefighters, first responders, nurses, dispatchers, cops, anybody who is feels overworked and needs a break from what's going on in this world right now, I want them to come to the page and have a laugh. And I'm very proud of the fact that I think I pulled that off, and I just hope I can continue it. And along with what you were saying, yeah,
No,
when I first
definitely.
came in, I loved it. I worked tons of shifts, and now when I came back to work, I came back different. I work my shifts, and if I feel tired or I feel something going on, I go home. I mean, I tell the new guys this too that are coming in. I could see it on their face. You could see the shell. You could see them turn into that ghost, and you could see what's happening with their family. You could see hear their wife's stress on the phone, and I tell them, look, I say, look, it's not your wife's fault or your kid's fault that people can't staff their fire departments. You have to go home because at the end of the day, your family is what you have. And in the old days, yeah, it was like you do leave, you screw somebody. But you know what? After a certain amount of time, what are we supposed to do? We can't continue to shoulder this burden. And I think you're seeing it, people getting a lot of mental problems. And I guess my message is you got to take care of yourself because if you don't take care of yourself, it doesn't even matter. And no,
No,
that's
no, go
that's
ahead.
kind of the end of
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, and you had mentioned that it kind of shifted your focus on the correct things, and I'm just curious, how long ago was it that you were off, and how long were you said it was like 5
it was
months,
about 3
and
years
then
ago,
how long ago was that?
and I was off for 6 months,
Okay.
and that's funny too because I remember I bet you most firefighters probably think this, like, you're so used to the job and the adrenaline of it. I remember thinking, like, "I'm gonna be so bored. I mean, I can't go to work. I'm gonna be so bored." It was the exact opposite. I mean, I took my kids to school every morning. I came up with new, like, hobbies, and it was wonderful, and when I came back to the job, I rediscovered the love of the job in a different way, in a more healthy way, in a more fulfilling way,
Yeah.
I guess you can say it. It wasn't more of like a get your fix, it was more of like enjoy the time with your coworkers, your friends, your fire family, and then go home and enjoy your day off.
You mentioned right, and you had mentioned that, you focused on the correct things when you came back. It kinda shifted your focus, and you began now to focus on the correct things. I'm just curious for you, um, what was maybe 1 or 2 of those, like, what do you focus on now, or how's it
Uh,
changed you?
I guess I just focus more on my friendships at work, my rest. Um, yeah, I don't really have a good answer for that one.
Yeah, no, no. I think, well, and you kind of already answered a little bit, and that's why you had already, you talked about how it changed you started realizing, that it was really about being at home. You started realizing how much you enjoyed that because you hadn't been home for so long, and then you just, you said you started to focus on the correct things, and it's hard, like you said, because there's the family, and then you have your family at work too, because like you said, it's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's not our fault that our agencies can't staff, but we have this. I don't know. I get, like I say, almost like a work anxiety, and especially now getting ready to go back to work. I have this like because I've been off for 5 months. It'll be 5 months, and then going back, it's like, okay, I've been already kind of feeling like I'm letting the family down at work, the guys there, and then the family here, and it's that balance because, like you said, if you're not doing well and you got to go home, you know, you got to take care of yourself and you got to make sure you're put together. But like you said, like somebody on the other end, now their plans get get snatched up and changed like last minute, so that's tough. And because we care about those folks too. So, it's very tough, but it's not our problem that they can't, but
Oh,
it affects those other
oh,
brothers
definitely,
too,
and I
because they're all going
yeah,
through
and
it.
that's just what I'm saying, though. If we there was a point where, when we would take a day off or we would not be able to work a certain day, the guys would get mad at you. But I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, it's been so bad for so long that I don't see that anymore. No, it's a good thing. Guys shouldn't be blaming each other for what's
Right.
happening. I think the culture, and I think this is actually a good thing. I think it's a good thing that we support each other when we take a day off. I actually see that more now, and it's scary because I don't know what's going to happen with these departments that are having these staffing issues because we're all just at a point where we're just like, I got I got to take care of my family. I can't be
Yeah.
here 25 days a month.
Right.
It's-
Well, Well, I can tell you what's gonna happen is it's those guys that the guys that don't say anything and they don't know how to vocalize or express that they're not doing well or that their family's not doing well, and they just continue to take on their shifts plus the ones, that guys aren't showing up for. The guys that don't say anything, they're the ones that are gonna be crushed, that they're gonna be the ones that their marriages aren't gonna survive because they can't work freaking every single you can't have a family and never go hang out with them and never see them, you know what I mean? So but like you said, it is kinda changing a little bit the culture. It was really hard for me, because I was telling you before we started, airing the show. So I got 20 years on. I did like 10 in the station, but the last 10 were in our air and wildland division. Completely different schedule. It's more like, we it's weather dependent. The staffing a lot of times you get mandatoried or you get recalled, but you were going to go home that night. So I enjoyed that schedule. I didn't like the 24 hours so much. I liked being able to go home at night more nights. But it was weather dependent. It's like, okay, I'm off at 4. Oh no, they want to hold us till 6 o'clock. No, they're holding you till 8. You know what? Just stay the night. So it was almost like even more uncertain, but just it was weather dependent. The staffing and how much you worked was going to be weather dependent. And then, of course, as soon as strike teams leave or something like that, it changes, it just reshuffles the deck and you got to refix all the staffing and all that. But for me, coming back to the fire station after being gone for 10 years and kind of just knowing only that old culture, like you were talking about, where the guys just sucked it up and just did it and they didn't say nothing. And they just did it. They're just like, well, this is what I do. This is my job. There's nothing to do. Coming back, things had changed a little bit when I came back. And, I was noticing that, the guys are just way more, the morale was down staffing wise, was just a much there's no fix for it. It was a big mess and you can't fix it. And then, it's funny, like all the posts you do and stuff like that, making fun of all the what do you guys call it? It's not the card file when you guys fill it out of what's that? The
I
place where
just
they
call it
do all the staffing.
staffing.
What's that? Or
I've
who's
created
that
like an
position?
80s like an 80s villain out of the
Oh, the
staffer.
staffer. Yeah.
And
Well,
what's funny about it is, all my friends are staffers and they work overtime down there and they love it. They send me meme ideas
oh yeah.
because I don't mean it towards
They're the ones that are
anybody.
calling
I
you.
like an 80s Doctor
Oh, of
Evil
course, of
villain out
course.
of it because it's funny because it makes everybody laugh. And I think my goal when I make these videos is that the
No, it is
person or the
hilarious.
people that I'm making fun of, I want them to be laughing along. I'm not trying to be, vindictive or anything.
No, of course. Yeah. It's not you versus them. It's
No,
just
it's
that's
just
what it is.
laugh about it. Along with what you were
No.
saying,
And
okay,
then
you were saying like your hours were dependent upon the weather. So I think I could speak with everybody right now when I say every firefighter, when the weather's bad, when the Santa Anas are ripping, or when there's a wildfire burning and guys are out there working, none of us have a problem working more because that is what we do. If my county or my city or even your county is burning and we got guys up there and it's causing backfill issues, that's what we're here for. That is what the mandatory overtime is made for.
Yeah.
That's what it's made
Yeah.
for. The problem I think I'm having and most people are having, and the reason you're seeing people just basically a burnout type thing is because it's happening on random weekdays in a row. I mean, like a random, I'll just say September, that
Yeah. Just,
that entire week I'll be mandatory. And
yeah. Just the day to day.
that's what the guys have just said, just throwing your hands up.
Yeah.
Just, oh, you just why? Like, what's the point of me doing it this day when I'm also gonna be doing it when the Santa Anas come, when I should be
Yeah.
doing it? That's just it's just wrong, and that's why there's a burnout and there's a problem.
Yeah. Now, is there light at the end of the tunnel for you guys a little bit, or are they really? I mean, how long out would you say it is before some of this even gets fixed, if ever? I mean, is there a plan in place, or they're just kind of like they're just really just everybody's gonna have to deal with it, and this is just the new normal?
I don't really have an answer for that.
No, I don't really know. Yeah,
But me,
yeah. Well,
I just take my role as, this Saturday Night Live of the weekend. Just I'm
yeah,
thinking my I don't
yeah,
wanna, speak for anybody. I don't wanna, make these plans, but I know what I can do. I know I could create a little bit of humor and entertain the guys. I just kinda take that role.
yeah. No, and that's a good point because, well, my point was just going to be that it takes time. Like I know on a lot of these agencies, like it ain't going to get fixed this year or next. I mean, it takes years, for it to catch up, and the attrition of people retiring and things like that. This is years out, and and I just kind of wanted, you know, at the beginning we kind of been talking about the negative, all this kind of thing, but I would make it a point when I was training, people got to know that this is kind of the job that you're coming into. You need to be able to prepare yourself, like you're talking about. Hearing you talk about this, hearing me talk about this, like the mental side that you got to prepare for this. You got to know going into it, like, I don't know. Everybody keeps bringing this up, like, this whole wellness thing, maybe I need to have some resources out there. Like you mentioned, what was the name of the one again? I want to jot that down. So I'll put it in the show notes. You guys have some resources down there. Up here we
Yeah,
have, I was just
it's called Focus. We have a phone number to dial.
focus.
I can't say enough good things about it. It's been great. You call a number and they set you up with someone to talk to, and you meet them there, and they take care of everything. No questions asked. It's an amazing program that we have down here. I can't say enough good things about it. I'm not sure about like what you have, but I know that's down.
Yeah. Yeah, we have peer support, and on our agencies, and then there's you can reach out there, and it'll be through tied to the job, and things like that. Workers comp kind of, if it's bad enough though. But bottom line is there's resources, and then I've been talking to Charlie Brown. He's next rung, and they kind of reach out to a lot of the first responder community that maybe it's not on their insurance. You know what I mean? But they still the families of first responders, and for first responders they help find them the help they need, the counseling, or just talking to somebody. But then they also help them figure things out a little bit. They raise funds, to help those people that because there's a whole bunch of wildland firefighters that are seasonal, or maybe you're a seasonal, or you don't get full benefits with your ambulance company, or something like that, to where you still kind of need these resources, but how are you supposed to pay for it? So these guys help out, and that's the next rung with them. And so there are those things. It is important just to kind of know that's out there. And I know I was involved with a lot of training academies over the years. And I would tell people coming in, because they're thinking it's going to be one way. They're in the academy, like you could see it on their faces already. They're like, man, I just want this to get done. My family already like through this academy, and I would just have to be real with them and say, hey, if you think it's going to get easy when you graduate this academy, and if you're telling your family you're going to be home all the time and things are going to be all cool, you're lying to your family. Like you got to know you're going to be new. You're going to be, maybe low on, I don't know how your department does it, but you might be low on the mandatories or whatever, but you just have to prepare yourself and prepare the people that support you that this is what it is, and it's not easy, but that's why, like you said, you got to know some resources and some things that can help you out, and things that make you happy. Like you got this whole project that you're working on, and doing all this, making the videos and stuff. And dude, it's fun. It's lighthearted. I'm sure that's like a release for you, and you enjoy doing it. And I enjoy doing what I'm doing, with this show and the other things that I'm into. But yeah, that's what I guess that's the big message, is to let people know that everybody's going through it. They're not like unique and alone. And dude, it's hard. I know the wives and the families, they're more isolated a lot of times than us because at least we get to go and kind of gather together at home. But if they don't have that strong network back at home, dude, they're feeling really alone and isolated. So it's a tough position, but that's, we're trying to get through it, and it's still, even with all that, it's a good job and a good thing for the families, like you said. But you got to know your own throttle, man. You can't just burn
Yeah,
yourself
I
out.
think, when yeah, I could never talk, but you have to so being like working a little bit less is I love the job. I love it. It's just you shouldn't be doing it 25 days a week or so. You work a normal amount of shifts. The job is wonderful. It's great, but you just got to make sure you're taking care of yourself, making sure you're reevaluating what's going on in your life. And it's kind I guess that's
Yeah.
kind of my message. And when I was on injury, I think I started making videos. Like I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to do what I'm doing, and I just started doing it. And I think, yeah, it's definitely a big outlet for me. I as you probably
Right.
know, I like, certain movies from the '80s, and I just love making them jive with what's happening with us. And I think it hits home with
Yeah.
people, and it's just fun. I enjoy it. I really do. And
Oh, it is
I don't
fun.
think I could do as many videos as I do if I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. And so now talking, I kind of want to shift it into talking about, you and or I guess just what you're doing with not just the videos, but like, what you're kind of putting together and the stuff you've been doing. How did that kind of how did that start, I guess, for you is what I'm curious. How did it become where you were starting a page? Were you posting videos or just sending them to guys like, hey, this is funny first, or did you kind of have the idea? I'm just curious.
I think I was a pretty good fridge artist. I don't know if you understand the fridge art department.
Yeah.
I think I was pretty
Oh
good
yeah.
at it. There's a lot of guys out there that are pretty good. I think I was pretty good, so that's probably where I got my start making memes, was making them for the fridge at the fire station, and I wish I had a better answer for you. I think the first I just made a meme. I think it was just Kevin Hart, like, kinda doing, like, a look, and all making those, and I think all I wrote was, "When the phone rings and you're number 1 on the Mando list," and that's the first
That's
one,
great.
and I think I did it just on a whim. I think I was just bored, and I just made it, and I saw I mean, at the time, I think the page had, like, a few hundred followers, and I just saw the reaction I got from it, and I it was fun. The comments, the messages, people thought it was funny, and I thought, "There's something here," and I just started
Yeah.
doing more and more, and then I got better and better with the tech, and just so you know, my tech is my phone. Everything
That's it.
all those videos you see, everything is all off the phone. I mean, I'm starting to get a little high tech now with the
That's
stuff I
awesome.
got now, but
Yeah, you just
videos are
got
just a
that.
$1 app.
Yeah. Yeah, and for those of the guys that are listening and, you're not watching it on video, yeah, he's got the headset now and he just got himself a little, soundboard, that's probably even more high tech than me right
Well, I
there, but you're
clearly have
coming
my
up.
how I clearly I like tech because I can't stop looking at it. It's got lights on it and I'm messing with the, switches on it. So what I'm prepping to
Yeah,
do right now is basically do a podcast like you're doing, and I thought if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do
nice.
video, and I'm gonna give it the best I can, and it's gonna be comedy, it's gonna be real, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna try to start doing it in January. That's why I got this little microphone and all this stuff. Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to that, and then that with the page continuing with the videos, and then this past 6 months, have been just wild for me. As you could see all this boxes of stuff I have behind me. I did a pre-order for shirts, for Mando Van shirts about 6 months ago, and I clearly understood by the orders that there was a demand for Mando Van shirts. So I
yeah,
just took the money and I flipped it and started buying all this merch, and now it's crazy because I wasn't planning on doing it wasn't the plan when I made this page. It's turned into a
right.
full-on,
Yeah.
apparel business.
Yeah, now you got all the apparel, and then a few months back, I think didn't you guys do some kind of event or something where you guys were, like,
Yeah, it's
co-sponsoring? What was that
glad you
about?
brought that up. So, me and a couple friends, Sean and Rich, they had started something called the Mustache Bash, and they came to me. They wanted like a social media presence, and they wanted me to make memes. So I started to, and with their help, we were able to. We got about 800 people at this event, and we had a 80s hair band, and we had a blast, and we ended up raising just over $42,000. Um, and because of that, we're talking now about we're gonna start our own 501 charity. I can't tell you the name yet, but we have actually
Yeah,
already
yeah,
ordered, like, stuff for it, and we'll be coming out with that, and what we wanna do is turn that into not just for the mustache thing, but we're gonna turn it into basically like a event planner, like a fire department event planner, but make the events more nationwide. Again, I can't tell you what the event we're gonna do, but we planned,
yeah.
and
No, no.
it's basically gonna be a 501 and we're gonna do just like we did with the bash, but for, like, fire department sporting events or concerts or whatever, and with the brigades,
Yeah.
with my memes, you know, everyone loves my friend Sean and Rich, and with us, we're gonna put together, and I don't know, who knows where it's gonna be. Yeah,
Yeah. It just keeps yeah, it keeps growing. I mean, you keep finding other ways that you can do different things and networking and just keep bringing other
trying to
things into
use
it,
this,
and that's
like, memes for a cause. I crea from that Kevin Hart meme,
yeah.
I've been able to turn it into a full-on business. I'm hoping to be able to start a 501 charity, and not only that, but I really like the fact that, I think I've only been doing this for about was it 6 months, and I've already been able to donate $5,000, random different charities,
Wow.
and I just started a thing, uh, with a station here down here where station apparel, like off-duty station apparel, I take their shirt and basically every single shirt, $5 goes directly as a donation to the firefighters in that station. And if people don't know what they do with that money, they go from either buying food to, maybe a better TV, just stuff that they like in that station. And now I'm be able to basically start turning around the brigade's success into giving money back to firefighters, like, for them, and it's fun. And I plan on taking shirts from
No,
all
that's
over these different stations and selling them on the page and just giving the money back. It's gonna be it's a new thing I'm doing, and I'm pretty excited about it.
yeah, I mean, that's really now you're really having fun with it. I mean, you're really doing like, you got momentum and like you said, it's gonna be fun what you're able to put back into it, for the fellas and just the whole thing and keep it going and it's gonna continue, to
Taking their
grow in that.
shirts,
So
their beach shirts, where they sell normally, just to people around the station, and, I just got 3 orders for Canada. I'm taking their shirts and,
yeah.
taking it out worldwide, but taking it out from where they normally would sell it, and I'm able to benefit them, and it's great, and it's exciting new, random idea I had.
No, it is great. I mean, you just keep coming ideas. I've only been doing this a short time, but we just started with another podcast. We have like a fire up program, a men's event that we go do, kind of like a retreat, like a men's leadership event. We just keep finding different things and as you keep going, and for sure with the podcast too, you're going to continue, to network and stuff like that. And then I wanted to ask you too, it's like you said, you're doing everything yourself, right? You're editing everything on your phone and you're doing all this stuff. But then there's the whole like business side and all that. Like I see behind you there, you got like shelves and boxes and you got all your apparel. And I'm sure, you know, there's all that. What was did you get some help with that or was it just a steep learning curve and
So
just been
I
figuring it
I
out
can't
or
believe I'm gonna
how's that
tell
been
you this,
going?
but I think one of my dreams as a kid, I think one of the things there was 2 things I coulda did. It was probably firefight or advertising. And it's funny that I can't believe I'm even telling the nation this right now, but, uh, when I was in junior
That's so
high, I
awesome.
used to write commercials. So, I guess some people would draw doodles. They would do whatever they would do in their notebook on junior high. I would actually write commercials. So and again, I swear I didn't plan any of this, but I've taken that
That's so
weird
funny.
thing that I used to do, and I kind of started making stuff with it. And all I really do with this apparel and stuff is just I just make what I would wear. I make a shirt that I would wear. I prefer shirts, like fire shirts that are more subtle, more maybe
Yeah.
he's a firefighter, maybe he's not kind of shirt. I prefer
It's not the obvious
not,
not the obvious fire
you
nerd
know, I fight
shirt.
with you here. You actually make I might make that as a joke. It's not that, it's
Just as
more
a
of a
joke,
subtle
yeah.
what actual what I would wear off duty, and I have found that most people are agreeing with that because it's moving, and I've want
Yeah.
merch and all that. I want you to see the merch and think of your day off. S and that's so people send me pictures of
Yeah,
them. I think
man.
I just had one of a guy at Disneyland, you know, with the Mando van shirt. I love that stuff. I love it. That's what I want people to think of. I want you to think of a day off. I don't want them to,
Yeah. Well, and then seeing your gear in the wild, that's pretty cool though. I mean, you're seeing people are sending you pictures and seeing it like that. And no, that was really cool what you shared about like how you used to kind of your mind would work, like you would write commercials, you kind of just had this, that's how your mind thinks, right? And I'm guessing like you can't watch a commercial or let alone a movie with just thinking of, oh dude, that's totally they're talking
oh,
about Mandos right there. That's gonna work right there. Like because
yeah.
you just keep coming with them. It's like I'm sure if the TV's on at all, you're gonna find a way to make a
Yeah,
meme out
so
of
I
that. Like that's how
purposely
it's
won't
going.
watch certain movies just because I need a break sometimes. I'll watch is I'll pull up my phone and I'll watch totally random things. Like, my mind is a trip. I like to watch, like, how rocket motors work because I have no idea how they work, and that's, like, what I'll watch at night to go to sleep because there's no chance of that video having any Mando potential. It
Yeah, right.
it's
You'll find a
the
way, I
YouTube
think.
will pop up some
I
random
know
thing, and
you
I'll
will.
click on it, I'm like, "Oh, that's kinda good." But, like, I'll watch Mythbusters or I'll watch, Top Gear, the British version, and yeah, I'll watch stuff like that, and I
Yeah, oh yeah,
because
that's a good one.
I enjoy it, and technically usually doesn't have Mando stuff. Because if I put any Chevy Chase or any Eddie Murphy or anything up on the TV, I'm gonna be thinking about memes the whole time. You're right, yeah, it's kind of a problem, and it's funny because I think I created that problem in a lot of firefighters because they're sending me stuff constantly that they see. They're like, "Oh, I saw this," I
Oh
guess
yeah,
it's not a bad problem to have. It's a escape a little bit, and that's what I like about it.
yeah. Well, and you're bold enough to post it, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that they can maybe their mind thinks that way too, or they come up with a funny thing here and there, but
Oh,
they're not like, they're not
in
comfortable
the
enough,
beginning of when I
to
first
actually
started this
put it out there,
page,
you know what I mean?
I had a little it was a little bit anxiety because I had no idea. I'm not like an outwardly funny person. I'm not a stand-up comedian. I don't do that. I don't know anything about that. And I just would I would put a video out. I tell my people this all the time. I'm gonna put this video out and it's either gonna be a complete flop and everybody's gonna make fun of me or it's gonna kill. And a perfect example of that is
Yeah.
the Arnold Schwarzenegger one. I don't know if you've seen it. It was the firefighter just off probation and he's staring in the mirror and he's swinging his sword. And Conan, yeah.
It was the Conan one.
That video, I made that video and it was in my early years where if you said bold, now I don't care. I'll put up anything. If I think it's funny, I don't even care. I'll just put it up and it doesn't really
Yeah.
it doesn't bother my day. But in the beginning, I would put things up. I would be literally like,
Yeah.
oh man,
You
I
just
don't know. This might be the end of the brigade right here. This might be the last one I do. But
That's so fu would your finger just be, like, hovering over the send button, like, and then somebody bumps into you, and then you hit the
it's actually
send, you're
still
like,
happens.
"Oh, it's
It's
too
actually
late
like
now,
you
I can't take it
misspelled
back."
your. Like, oh god, I gotta delete it. And I did it again. But that video, that Conan video, I sat on that thing for a couple weeks. I didn't think anybody would get it. I thought I was the only one thought it was funny. I think I even showed it to guys that I work with, and they were like, And I wasn't sure. And then I just randomly one day, I just like you said, I just hit screw it, hit send, and then it was it went viral. And it's still if I post it anytime, it always does like I think like a couple 100,000 views. It just takes off every single time I post it. And that's made me realize I need to just trust what I think just trust it and just do it.
Yeah, just
And
do it.
like, honestly, though, I
That's
try
right.
I try
Yeah.
to do different things. Like if it was up to me, I would probably just do Spaceballs references every single day. But that's I can't just do that all every day. I gotta mix it up a little. Yeah, I try to mix it
Oh,
up. I
yeah, you
can't.
mix it up.
I'm doing a little extra
No.
Chevy Chase this month, but that's because it's Christmas.
Yeah. No, yeah, I've been digging those. Those are good. No, you get me though. Like I usually, I don't really, I have like the Instagram I'm trying to do, for the stuff that I'm working on. I don't really like scroll the feed like that much, but your stuff always gets me, man. I'm always like just watching with the sound off and like just waiting for like, all right, I'm waiting for the punchline. Here it comes. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good one.
I have a theory
I
about
go.
firefighters. Our
but
attention
but
span
so they get
is
me.
a quarter of what the normal person's is. Like, I'm not educated in this field at all. I don't know
Oh
anything
yeah.
about Instagram. I'm learning on the job here. But I think firefighters, if there's not an explosion or a punchline or a guy getting smacked in the face in the first second of that video, you're gonna keep what I think Brigade followers give me a little bit more time now because they know it's gonna happen. But I think the average video, you need to have something happen in the first second, or you're gonna just keep scrolling. Like
Oh yeah.
I still do that to this day. I make it something happen, like, right
Yeah.
away.
The
Yeah, like, if
Yeah, you gotta
if
put
I get
that
a
towards the
fire
beginning.
video, I'll
Gotta
put the
get the
explosion in
hook.
the first 2 seconds, and then I'll loop around to the beginning of the video. And then you gotta watch it over again, because if I don't do that, guys are just like, "What is this?"
Yeah. Right. And and I got another question that popped in my head is like just so now this is a hobby. This is like therapy for you too. You enjoy it. It's fun. It's gaining momentum. You're starting to help people. Like how much time does it take of your day? Like even now you're doing a podcast. So that's a little bit more, right? Like now you got this other stuff you're going to be doing, but like I'm just curious, like just typical, like okay, say you got your day off, you come
I'm putting
home.
time in right
How's that
now,
kind of run? I mean,
but it's I don't feel as guilty about it now because I've actually kind of just hired my wife. 'Cause my wife well, she's like my shipping manager. I can't
dude,
keep
that's
up with this
perfect.
stuff anymore, and I need help, and, uh I put a lot of time. I get asked
Yeah.
that a lot. I should probably come up with the actual hours.
You're
I
just
probably
pretty much
because I
answers like
wake
all day.
it's
All
crazy. I
day.
wake up early. I usually pour coffee. I think people who follow me know I post something at like 5 or 6 in the morning. I wake up early, I pour some coffee, and I put a few videos up, and then the, apparel side of the business keeps me busy for a good 2 more hours in the morning, and, I usually have a break. I
Yeah.
do something with the family, go work out or something, and then right around 5, I'll try to put something really good out, a few videos, and then again, the apparel side has me busy a few more hours because I try to ship like every day, and then when I'm at work, my wife's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
She's doing like a couple hours of shipping a day. I really am trying. I'm working really hard to make that apparel side like I'm trying to do it right. Like if you order something, I'm putting that thing out to you quick. And then there's not only that, but there's, like, also the emails, the stuff gets lost in the mail more than I ever realized. I'm learning that. I need to do
Oh,
I
you're
need
like,
to do a
man,
video on that, like,
these
there's a
companies.
there's random hats just all over the country that I don't know where they went. They just disappeared. Yeah, they're just gone. So
Somebody's
there's
wearing it.
emails of that. I will say this though, um, having firefighters as my mostly my customer base, it sounds scary. But actually, it's really good. People are very, like, cool with me, like, they'll send emails, they'll be like, "Hey, bro, my hat, I don't know where my hat's at. I don't wanna be a pain, but, hey, I don't wanna be a pain, man. I mean, I love your site. I don't know where my hat's at." And instead of somebody being like, "Where's my hat?
That's
I don't know."
funny.
It's not like that. Usually, guys, I think they understand that I'm just a firefighter doing my best here, and they put me at,
Yeah,
in
they're
their
like, I know
station,
you're
how
you're
they
just
would talk
trying
to me
over
at the
there.
fire station, and I do the right thing back. I'm like, "Hey, I don't know where your hat's at, but I'll tell you right now, I'm packing you up another one right now, and it will be in the morning, no problem." And the same thing with
Oh yeah.
I I got a couple different versions of Mando Van shirts, and silly me, I made them in the same color, so I might accidentally put the wrong Mando Van shirt in your bag sometimes, and I'll get that email too. And, it's funny because 'cause they'll say stuff like, "Hey, you want me to send this one back?" And I'm like, "No, just give it a good home. I'll send you another one." And, yeah, that whole side
Yeah,
of it,
give
it's
it a
keep me
good
busy. I
home.
I don't know the hourly, but I would put, it's a full-time job. I'll put it that way, full-time job, sure.
Yeah. It and that with your mind and everything, are you ever able to shut it off? Like, when you're not doing the work and say you get down to the beach or
Not
something, or
the
you got,
teaching, I
like,
coach
at a
both my
game, I
kids.
don't know, your kids probably got sports or something
So
like
I
that, you know?
coach, 5-year-old
Oh, shoot.
girls basketball, my daughter, and I coach 13-year-old basketball. I'll tell you one thing, at practice, I'm not thinking about the brigade at all. I got those kids keep my hands full completely. So that's probably a little bit of a break. Um, I just I discovered the game of pickleball,
That's good.
and I'll do that a lot. That gives me a little bit of a break.
There you go.
And then I also, I actually used to trail run. I trail run. I know I don't look like the, best runner's body in the world, but
No, it's a
I
runner's
actually
body
did,
right there, man. That's r r
50K about, like, 2 years ago, before COVID. I did a 50, and
shoot.
what is it? What was it called? Oh, I
Uh-huh. Wow.
can't think
It's a
of it.
trail
The Mount
running.
Laguna one, you go up the mountain and you come back down.
Uh-huh.
Noble Canyon. Noble,
Okay.
yeah. So
Oh,
I'll go out to the trails and I'll lightly jog.
yeah.
But
Well,
that's
that's
probably all
good.
I have. Other than that, even when I'm running, I actually come up with the best videos when I'm not thinking about the brigade. That's when
Yeah.
they
Yeah, running and things like that when you're doing those cyclical kind of just you're just in a groove, you're not thinking, you're just kinda, like, going, yeah, thoughts just kinda start flooding in.
some of the best things I ever came up with were on, I do hikes too, like random, like, like 2 mile, 3 mile hikes up mountains around here. That's I come up with some good stuff on those hikes. And I'm not
Oh,
even
yeah.
trying I'm trying to get away.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But
it's cool. It just that's how it is. That's the inspiration just kinda comes to you, and
yeah,
you know what? And it sounds like you got that good balance going though too, like, like I said, it just sounds like you know yourself well enough to that you got this thing you're into and you're moving on that and it's going great, man. It really is taking off but then also you're taking care of yourself too. You're not like you talked about how bad it was, when you were working a ton in the station and just it was just never ever ever a break. And you could easily this could just be the same, it could
yeah.
just be that you're going in there and closing the door, but it sounds like you got a good balance going.
It's funny you say that. I've been literally thinking about that lately. Like, I gotta make sure I keep my balance going. I could see it happening. It's starting to get really, really busy. And it's funny you said that because I was literally thinking of that the past couple of weeks. I need to
Yeah.
take time in a
Well, at least you got like you said, your wife's gonna be working with you though, so I mean, that's a good thing there too. At least you guys are doing it together. It's not like you're closing the door and she's on the other side, you know?
She doesn't always do what I say though. It's not really a good,
No, never. That's never gonna happen.
boss relationship. I don't think she even likes me 'cause say I'm the boss. It
No.
doesn't really work out super well.
Do you ever think that maybe it's you're not doing what she says, that's the problem?
You know what's funny is I wish I had a video or I had an idea of how to recreate when I was training her all the stuff, like telling her all the stickers, like, "No, no, that's your day off. No, no, that's cousin Eddie. No,
The
that's."
looks you were getting.
I wish she's like, "What?" And it's funny because I don't like, I'll do
Yeah,
right here, this
that is funny.
like this she's like, "What is this?
Oh, yeah,
What?"
the Chris Farley.
Yeah,
Who is it? She doesn't
and
know?
then she tells me, like, 2 weeks later, "You know that Chris Farley one, it actually everybody really wants that one." And training her about all the because these
The pop culture references.
the stickers and the hats, they're all like my crazy mind, and explain to her what each thing is, it was pretty hilarious. And though she knows it now though, knows it better than I
That's good.
do. She gets pretty mad at my organization skills.
Yeah. No, it's looking good in there.
It's fun.
It is, man. Dude,
Fun.
well, it's been awesome, John. I'm glad we got to tie in together, and dude, I was really looking forward to it for a long time. I appreciated you getting back to me, and dude, it is it's fun. It's like I don't really have the quite the humor as much, and so it's good. It's good to get the audience, the stuff they can laugh at, and I know everybody's checking out your stuff, for sure. Because they're in the fire service and things. And then, I wanted to, of course, open it up to you if there's anything you wanted to touch on before we end the episode. But there's probably a lot of other people out there that maybe they have something that they might be into, and they kind of see you doing something you enjoy, and they're looking for that outlet too. What would you kind of say to somebody that's maybe thinking about pursuing something outside the job?
I've been noticing a lot of pages on Instagram lately that are similar to mine, and I think it's great. I love it, and they always tag me, and I just want those guys to know, like, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, it's fun. I mean, you're making people laugh. I think it's great. I think I've seen there's probably a good 10 different pages that have popped up over the past year or so, and I love it. I said, keep it going. Just if it's a release for you, if you're making people laugh, I don't see a problem with it at all. You could keep tagging me. And
Yeah.
I tell them if
No,
they make me laugh and it's not, like, too crude, I'll repost it, and I'll
yeah.
give them that, that full credit, give them a little bump on their page. I'm all about it.
For sure. No, that's cool. That's really cool. And then for from me, I know I just got my following's not as big as yours, but if there's ever anything that I can help out with in the future, on the networking side, if you got an event, and if you find a niche and something you think I'd be able to help out in, don't hesitate to reach out. And we're all serving the same community, man. We're
Yeah.
just we're getting through it. And I got like 10 more years on paper. We'll see if I make it that far, but we still got ways to go, man. So it's a bit better to do it laughing.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. This is cool. I'm sorry I keep looking at my new mixer. I can't it's got too many lights.
That's awesome. Hey, hey, well, thanks again, John. I appreciate everything, and we'll be in touch. So that's the Brigade, Mando City. I'll be linking all that stuff, all the merch, and in his page to the show notes. Although I'm sure you guys probably already know who he is, but I'll be doing that. And yeah, if there's anything you need from him, you can hit me up, and I'll shoot you his way. But thanks again, John Hernandez.